What's going on, everybody? It's Rev, and welcome back to another Dauntless video. In this video, I'm going to be going over everything that you need to know about Mastery. What's the fastest way to level up? What does it do for you? What does it all mean? What does it all mean? All right, let's go into the main menu, go into Mastery, and let's talk about it a little bit. This might be your first time opening it up. You might get a little tutorial that is very vague and doesn't really tell you much, but I'm here to make it all better. Let's talk about, we're gonna start with Behemoth Mastery, and then we'll go into the Axe Mastery portion, because all of these extra cards for all the weapons are pretty much the same except for the repeaters. And so maybe I'll touch a little bit on the repeaters after we talk about the axe. But first, let's start with Behemoth Mastery. Now, Behemoth Mastery is more of like a late game sort of mastery, an overarching mastery. The entire mastery system takes you all the way into late game, but you'll actually hit Slayer 50 before you complete all of these cards. So that's a tidbit of information that you might want to know. In order to cap out, you don't need to finish everything. You can see that I've been playing for a very long time, and I've only capped out a few of the behemoths. So let's talk about Boreas while we're here. And so under each behemoth card, you're going to have a series of checkboxes to do different things and complete different objectives to each behemoth. Every single one of these cards is almost exactly identical. You can see Hunt Boreas wearing Boreas armor, craft all Boreas, upgrade all Boreas, blah, blah, blah. You can see for Charog, we have Hunt Charog wearing Charog armor, craft all Charog, etc. And that goes on for every single one of these cards. So, what is the fastest way to level? The fastest way to level is to actually spread yourself very thin on Behemoth Mastery. And the reason for that is because each one of these checkboxes gives you the same amount of EXP. That's a tidbit of information that I didn't know until very late in playing the Mastery system, or Dauntless when the Mastery system got introduced to the game. Hunt Boreas and Hunt Boreas 10 times wearing Boreas's armor gives the same amount of EXP. Hunt Boreas and deal 5 million damage to Boreas give the same amount of Behemoth Mastery. And that goes on for all of these. And so the more behemoths you have unlocked, and you can kind of chip away at these easier, upgrade to +6, upgrade to +10, etc. There are some harder ones, like take less than 100 damage and defeat it in under 3 minutes. But we also have stuff like, these are higher ends on the thresholds, but it might be stagger 10 times, wound 10 times, break 10 parts. So those checkboxes are going to be a lot easier than, say, deal 5 million damage. So deal what you think is, or deal with the checkboxes that are within your means. And then just do them all for every single one of them. And then as you get stronger, you're going to be able to check off more in each individual behemoth area, I suppose. That pretty much covers Behemoth Mastery. Let's talk about weapons now. Now, there are two main components to every weapon mastery card, I suppose. That is crafting and dealing with all of the different axes in the game. And when I say axes, I really mean, any of these cards. I could replace it with axes, with chain blades, with hammers, with repeaters. And so crafting and just crafting it once and not upgrading it gets you a checkbox. So that goes into your Axe Mastery. If you want to be an Axe Master, you got to craft them all, just like Pokemon. And then as you're getting a little bit more skilled with the axe and a little bit more skilled at fighting all the behemoths, you'll go for the upgrades. Experience is just using said axe. And in late game, doing one of the late game hunts will get you the first box easily. And so it doesn't end up being that difficult to level up this way. Now, the real cheat code for weapon mastery is a lot of these things you're going to do passively. Break parts with axes, you'll do it passively. It's not really that big of a deal. hunt certain amount of behemoths, you'll get to it eventually. You know, just by playing the axe, you get that stuff done. Now, the real cheat is these elemental cards. You can see for the axe, it's any neutral, any blaze, any frost, any terra, any shock axe. And so what you want to do is get to the 4th checkbox and then move on to the next element. This is going to be your fastest means of EXP or any weapon variety, save for the repeaters, which I'll go over after this. So get to the 4th box, and then once you get to that 4th checkbox, move on to the blaze. Once you get 4 to the blaze, you're going to go 4 to the frost. You can see I used this strategy when I was leveling up my axes. Terra was a little bit more of a newer element at the time, and so yeah. Let's see, what else can we go over? Let's go over the repeaters. That's going to be your fastest means for any of the weapons to level up quickly. Now, the repeaters get a really big advantage here when it comes to mastery. So when you're playing the repeaters, you're actually doing 4. You have a barrel, you have a chamber, you have a grip, and a prism. So you're doing 4 of these mastery cards at any given moment. And so you're going to be more limited on your parts going into your repeaters, but you're going to be actually quadrupling up. And so it's kind of OP. And so upgrade the pieces that you have and then kind of do the same thing with the different barrels, right? 4 checkboxes, move on, 4 checkboxes, move on. And that's going to pretty much cover weapon mastery and your fastest means of leveling. Now, you might be asking yourself at this point, what's the point of all this? Like, what does it do for me? What does it do for my character in the game? Now, if you're curious about any of the rewards that you receive, you can go to the bottom right of the screen and go to rewards. It's divided up into the different masteries that are in the game. You can see here, Slayer Mastery level. We have Behemoth Mastery, Axe Mastery, all the different weapons. And so let's go over Behemoth Mastery. And like I said, this is more of a late game sort of thing, but it still helps early game players. You get a ton of cores. You get the ability to use more consumables. You can see it's max stamina tonic +1. So if I'm using 3 stamina tonics, or my cap is 3, now I'll be able to take 4, etc. That's going to go on for all the different types. Now, the big thing for the new players is double behemoth break parts +5% chance. That's a little bit of a mouthful, but basically it means you have a chance to get extra loot. And extra loot means more weapon crafting, more armor crafting, and it kind of snowballs into itself. So getting these rewards is, I'm not going to say super important, but it is important. It's a nice, 5% isn't a whole lot, but it's good. Now, the big thing, and the reason why it's more of a late game thing, is your armor caps naturally at +10. But if you get to Behemoth level 46, you'll be able to push your armor to +15. Mind you, 0 to 10 is a significant power boost, while 10 to 15 is more of a minor power boost. It's about, I want to say 7.5%. If someone wants to correct me on my numbers, feel free. But last I heard, it was 7.5% extra power or extra damage mitigation, which is significant, but it's not gonna make or break, being at +10, and you're just like, don't feel obligated to just, I have to grind all this stuff out. Anyway, let's talk about weapons now, because we went over both. Now, weapons are a little bit different. You do get cores, which means more cells, which is good. Better builds, stronger builds. We have mods. Mods are something that you earn exclusively through weapon mastery and trials. And trials is more of a late game thing. I'll have a separate video on that. Mods will help you do more damage. They'll help you, soften up a weakness that your weapon might have. Maybe you're spending too much stamina while you're playing the axe. You can go lightweight halved, which makes it so while you're moving around with the axe, it doesn't cost stamina. Something like that. But you also earn other specials, which if you're using the axe, Flight of Ruin will ring a bell. You can change Flight of Ruin to a entirely different move. So you're unlocking weapon customizations that are going to change how the weapon plays really drastically. And in the same vein as Behemoth Mastery, this means that your weapons can go from +10 to +15. And so if you want to upgrade your weapons to the max and be a completionist, you're going to have to do all of these different weapons to get them all to plus 15. Now, let's go back. And so how you upgrade your Slayer level is the culmination of Behemoth Mastery and your Weapon Mastery. And so you can take what I said about axes, doing all these mini, do the 4 boxes and then move on. You can actually do that per level if you're going for a specific Slayer level mastery thing. And so max upgrades, this is how your gear gets beyond plus 5, plus 6, plus 7, plus 8, plus 9, plus 10. Level 18 is kind of the big one because that means you can upgrade all your stuff. It's going to be maximal power. And then if you want to go further beyond, you go with the Behemoth and Weapon Mastery stuff. But this also upgrades your health. It upgrades your stamina, double Behemoth kill loot chance. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You have a chance to gather extra consumable items off of the ground. Instead of 1, you'll get 2. This is your player power right here. And so Slayer Mastery is kind of like the big overarching one that is the general game of Dauntless. This is where, all of the player upgrades come from. And so doing all of these tasks, you might be doing them and a whole bunch of pop-ups are coming up on the screen and you're like, I have no idea what this is. Hopefully this video answered all of that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section. But I think I was pretty succinct on what mastery is, the fastest way to levels, and what you're getting out of it. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, a like would be really appreciated. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to the channel and use creator code RevvyRad in the Dauntless in-game store. I stream on Twitch. That'll be in the description. Yeah, that does it. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I will see you on the Shattered Isles.